Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Higgins, and I'm with the Maritime Beef Council. And I'm just been invited today to do a quick little recap of the projects that we've got going on that all of the provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island support. So we'll get right into it. The Maritime Beef Strategy is being renewed this winter because the last iteration was launched in 2017. So we've just done some refining, nothing changing from a high level, but just some refining to match up with some of the other strategies and verbiage that goes along with it. So we've got 4 sort of major overarching goals that we tuck all of these projects underneath. And the first is to increase level of professionalism of beef producers through training, education, and other leadership initiatives. So under that little bucket, it's like the Atlantic Beef School, Verified Beef Production Plus, the Beef Conference. And then we've got develop and deploy new and existing risk management tools and strategies. Those risks all covering all financial, climate, and production risks. So we didn't do a Pan-Atlantic application for this year, which most of the other project buckets have gone under, but we do have a project with agri-risk initiatives with AAFC that's called Developing an Eastern Canadian Price Insurance Program, and we'll get into a little bit more of that later. Third is maximize utilization of pasture and forage through enhanced community pastures and innovative production systems. So this year we do have the Forage You Pick tool that we'll get into a little bit later. And we've had forage field days in the past, and there's lots of other collaborative projects that are coming down the pipeline from a forage management perspective as it relates to some of the climate action projects that are happening. And then we've got improve industry profitability by value chain coordination. So some of the projects that we've got there, dairy data management, production club, dairy beef alignment, and the cost of production network. So we've got certain goals that we put forward to our funders every year, and how we've done it in the past in terms of getting participation. So you folks who are on the line now are probably the ones who do participate in some of these things, whether that they're held virtually or in person. So again, it's just a little snapshot in some of the metrics that we keep for certain things. We've had some really good participation here this year so far, and are looking forward to having more in-person events as those protocols and all that sort of stuff allows. So the first project that we're going to talk about is Verified Beef Production Plus. This is probably the longest standing project that we've had on the go being funded. And essentially, we've got the opportunities in VBP. We will have some training that goes on here this next in February. If you haven't already been trained, if you've been trained and would like to get audited, go through the audit process, then by all means get in touch with one of your either myself or Amanda Miller on the island, and we'll be able to get you set up with getting audited. And we have been doing a few of these producer profiles for VBP Plus. So just a little bit about the producers and out there, and we launched these through social media, and we're just doing a website revamp, and we'll be providing them there as well. So that is something to think about. If you are a VBP operation and you haven't got me your information yet, I would certainly appreciate it, and we can get it put out there. We started the Verified Beef Verified Beef podcast here back in August, I think was our first episode. So they come out at the third Wednesday of every month. They're 20 to 30 minute segments. Some of them have maybe run a little like 35, 40 minutes in the past, but that's what we shoot for, is that 20 to 30 minute segment that you can just find them on your major podcatchers, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of those fun stuff. And if you're not a podcast listener but want to listen to something while you're sitting down at your computer or at your desk, Anchor also has those available for streaming online. So there's a bunch of different topics. We've got ranchers and farmers that are our guests on there, as well as industry people, depending on what the topic is. So if you haven't already checked that out, there's a bunch of episodes that you can download and take a listen to. So what we've done so far and what we've still got to come. So Quebec VBP has done some French webinar series, and those get shared through the New Brunswick Cattle Producer Network, so that any Francophones can take advantage of that, because the content is similar that way. We will continue to share those, so keep an eye out. We do have those Simply Verified Beef episodes that are up, and we've got more recorded that will be launched the next on the third Wednesday of every month. And we've got those producer profiles that have been compiled and translated. And as more come in, we will get those done. We did a Dalhousie training session for VBP with the module, the beef module class there. And so that was on November 2nd with some university students. And then upcoming, we've got winter training opportunities. So if you've not done a VBP Plus training in the past, or if you'd like to tune in for a refresher, then feel free to join us virtually via Zoom. Tuesday, February 1st is an English webinar that I will be putting on. Natalie Cote, again from Quebec, will be putting on a French version. And then we'll have another English version on that I will be doing on Thursday, February 3rd in the mid-afternoon. So something in the evening for some of those of you who might not be available through the day, or one through the day if that hits you a little bit better. And we do require pre-registration for these, just to make sure that we've got folks who are planning on attending to make the best use of everyone's time. There's no minimum person for me. If there's one person who is registered, then I will do the training. And another project is our production clubs, and we've got some members. This is our second year of sales that we've been able to get through. We've got the Feedlot Club in Prince Edward Island that met back in August, and we'll be looking at another date in March. And the calf clubs, we've got the feeder calves. One group sold October 19th in Truro at Atlantic Stockyards. And we are looking for interest. We have had a few people express interest in a April sale date. So over the next month or so, we'll be nailing down those who might be interested there. And what the eligibility is, I suppose, is just that you're working with a vaccination protocol that I can send you if you don't already have. But down here is basically the nuts and bolts, and that everything is properly dehorned and castrated, and to do age verifications. And I can certainly help you out with the age verifying if you've never age verified before. So there's a whole different presentation on some of the production club results, but long and short of it was that the differentials, we did find better than average. The steers beat the average across the board in the production club versus what the average of the Atlantic Stockyards sale was within the similar weight range that day. The heifer sold a little bit lighter, but I would attribute that to probably there was a few that were a little bit more British based maybe. So that may have been the reckoning there, but the steers definitely sold strong, and the more exotic based heifers sold stronger as well. And just a note for anybody who may not be aware, the Quebec specialized feeder sales as of August 1st, 2023 will require your cow herd to be vaccinated. So this doesn't have anything to do with the production club necessarily, but it's just a FYI, if you are marketing or planning on wanting options to market into Quebec at those specialized feeder sales, the cow herd will have to be vaccinated with a fetal protection vaccine. So we're going to discuss that with a few of our people, because we've always strongly recommended it to this point. But again, if you're out there and you are doing things, then that was something you'll have to look at pre-breeding this year if you're planning on selling calves in the fall of 2023 into Quebec, or having options to sell them through those specialized feeder sales. And then we've got the Atlantic Beef School. So the Beef School's been very positive feedback on the Beef School module so far. And we've done the feedlot school last in December, and the dairy beef nursery school, which was virtual, in November. And our upcoming beef school modules we're back around at the feeding and nutrition module, February 10th to the 12th via Zoom. So we have 4 different speakers from all over North America that will be on the schedule there to chat about feeding and nutrition. And then on March 19th, we've got penciled in. Hopefully this will be able to be in person in Amherst on March 19th, pasture management module. We are lining up to be able to offer this virtually as well. So that one will be the first beef school that you'll see live and virtual tickets for. Again, hopefully we will be able to, by that time, get together and do it live. And we are trialing a leadership and advocacy module design with our provincial cattle producer and our Maritime Beef Council board. That'll be happening in February. So hopefully we'll work out all the nuts and bolts of that, and then next winter be able to do a wider distribution on that. So that is the beef school in a nutshell. And so yeah, the registration for the February class will likely be open by the time you guys are hearing this, perhaps. So just keep an eye at maritimebeef.ca and on social media, and those things will be announced as they go. We did have the Maritime Beef Conference in 2021, October 29th and 30th. It was moved to 100% virtual delivery because of COVID and all of that fun stuff. So the feedback on the conference from the participants who filled out the survey was very, very positive. All the speakers got good reviews. The virtual delivery feedback was good, providing that, again, like everybody, I think there was lots of people who were keen to be in person again, but it just wasn't in the cards this year. So we do have October 22nd and 23rd, 2022 earmarked as our conference deadline. So that Friday, Saturday in October of 2022. So you can mark your calendars for that. Price insurance is something that we've been working on. We've got an administrative capacity building project through Agriculture Agri-Food Canada that we've gotten a conditional approval for, and the contribution agreement has been finalized. I'm just waiting on the signature thing to come through. So that is something. So we've got the Eastern indexes. We're working with AFSC on behind the scenes on what those indexes get fed in and get look like, and what the actuarials and all sorts of really boring insurance work to do before we get to the producer part. So next winter, if all goes well, you can expect focus groups on price insurance and what things may actually legitimately look like in terms of what some premiums might be. So stay tuned for this. This is going to be big next winter as we close out that project. We do have the Forage You Pick tool that is getting developed. The Western Canadian one was launched in 2020, and we're doing an Eastern expansion on that here this spring, which will also be available in French. So next winter, again, you can expect to see that. Just wanted to let you know that's coming down the pipeline and something that we're working on. And then we have the National Cow-Calf Cost of Production Network. So this is one that we had results from last year's groups that are available on CanFax at www.canfax.ca. And this year we've got 4 cow-calf cost of production focus groups that will be happening in February. We didn't have enough dairy beef signups to create their own group. So hopefully by next winter we'll have some supplemental folks who are interested in doing that. We did have 2 focus groups last year for dairy beef, and I think that Ontario was looking to get some dairy beef folks signed up as well. So again, I was a little bit surprised because we've talked about dairy beef being and the cost of production being a challenge, or something that producers have wanted us to look at. So anyhow, that's where we're at right now. So if you did getting placed in a group, this year, or if you missed the sign up, there will be another round of signups next October and November. So that's another thing to stay tuned for. There is a $500 honorarium for this one. So for your time and energy to participate in the Cost Production Network, which is 2 4-hour sessions via Zoom. So yeah, that is the network. And for more information, you can drop me a line. I'm the coordinator on this one too. And we did have the data management pilot. It has wrapped officially. So we did have a panel at the Maritime Beef Conference. We tested 4 different softwares: HerdTrax, BioTrack 360, Herdly, and CattleMax. It worked with producers doing real-time things. And the final report and graphics should be public in January. Maybe by the time you guys are hearing this, we'll have some information posted on the website. And then we've got the value chain alignment project. So we've got the translated document being printed, and last year we did the English version. It's a guide to dairy beef production from breeder to 500-pound feeder. And this year we're working on 500-pound feeder to fat. Hopefully it'll be done by the end of February. If not printed, then completed for online looking. And then I'm continuing to connect with the Maritime Dairy Beef Cooperative on a bi-weekly basis. That's another project that's happening in New Brunswick to align with what's happening there. We've got some alignment from Ontario and Quebec that's been happening on a regular basis. Conversation with Cargill and their US acceleration project has happened this past summer. So just going to keep on top of that to see if there's any Canadian grumblings of something happening there. The National Cow-Calf Cost of Production Network, like I mentioned, we had the signups for dairy beef operations as an option. There weren't enough, so hopefully next year. And the stakeholder session we had December 3rd, and that's just with all of the different parties that are doing some dairy beef things in this region to kind of get everybody aligned on the various projects that are happening. We do have a project that's being led by Dr. Katie Proudfoot, the drover, and then we did some drover interviews on the regulation changes and all of that sort of stuff. And these results should be available. We've got them in a report, and Katie and her team are working on getting them published in some journals. So that is all very interesting stuff. We've got the Atlantic Forage Field Day virtual. Some segments that we're getting loaded up into YouTube on a weekly basis. It was originally slated for November, but then we've had some other more pressing things. So we've got some video recorded, just got to do some editing on those videos and get them out into the world, into the abyss. And if you've got any questions, you can let me know. maritimebeefcouncil@gmail.com or New Brunswick at verifiedbeef.ca if it is a VBP plus related question, but I check either email. So either or, you can get a hold of me.